And welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to be playing a new game. This is Generation Exile. We're actually playing the demo today, as you can sort of see in the bottom right corner there. This is Generation Exile, the demo. I believe the full game is out on Steam. People want to play it. So if you find it interesting and want to play it, you can go find it on Steam. If you find it interesting and want me to play more of it, feel free to leave comments when we get near the end of the run, whether you're watching on Twitch or YouTube, and let me know. At the moment, I don't have the game. I picked up the demo trying to figure out if I wanted to pick up the game. This is sort of a turn-based colony sim, is my understanding. So I did do some basics to figure out how the rough game mechanics here work, so we're going to start up a new game. In the demo, you just have access to the story-driven campaign mode, which takes you through full journey of Generation Exile. Technically, I think you only have like the tutorial room in it, so the demo here is not very hard. It's basically just the tutorial for the game. Loading the game. And this would be the beginning of the campaign. It's going to give you some sort of background. We didn't get very far from Earth when strange things started to happen. It's 2 years after launch last year. You would have said things were going well. This year, the compost worms hummed, and at least 5 people were lost to sudden sinkholes. This person taps us on the shoulder. We've known this person since years before the Generation Ship mission. And I believe I've done this open get to the tutorial a couple different times. It doesn't really matter which of these three. It's just sort of different flavor of the story quest, the story going here. So basically, the person here who's tapping us on the shoulder is supposedly the last living agricultural disease specialist that you know about. Helped you clean up the mess and no one ever found out, and helped remove our Earth ID chip. Go ahead and click this middle option. You think back to After Hours Warehouse back on Earth. They looked at you not with horror, but determination. Tony yourself back. It's time, he says intensely. This is only getting worse. Back on Earth, the scales had periods of inactivity. We can hope that one of those is coming, but who knows when. We need to hole up. The curse in your breath in ever-present chagrin. We tried so hard to keep the scales off the ship. So, part of the reason you're an exile, I understand, in Generation Exile here, is the way that humanity tried to deal with climate change was to release these things called the scales, which are vaguely body horror bio things from what I've gleaned from this early in the story. You might glean more of that as you play more of the story. I haven't played deep enough to really get into that. Anyway, they tried so hard to keep him off the ship because they're one of the reasons we're leaving. We can say yes, we trust them, or we need to pack. We'll say yes, we trust them. You grab what you can, and you follow him. In the subsurface, made of artificial cave passages and cabled access tunnels, a few hundred people form your group. You occasionally radio with other parties scattered in other underground spaces, who live on the rations intended as planetful supplies. At first, people make brief returns to the biome surface. Not all come back. You stay below. You've been down here for months. You calculate you and they, and this person is a randomly generated person. So it won't be the same one every time, are once again bemoaning the hubris of Earth's ruling class, consuming Earth in their greed, and then paying for a quick environmental fix, which turned out, of course, to be the scales. So the quick environmental fix they used invented these scales. They had no idea what they were doing, half yelling for the umpteenth time, when commotion around one of the tents. You join the crowd clustering around the entrance to the tent. Inside, effectively the second randomly generated person. Belongings have been pushed aside, revealing something sprouting from the dense earth of the cavern floor. You focus as it begins to move. It looks like a human hand forming roots and tendrils. I'm going to put the person away so we can see the hand. Someone behind you whispers, "It's signing leathers, I'm sure of it, but it's nonsense. It's not words," they say. Not words. Fear echoes through the cave. So we got two options. We either got to leave, the scales have made its way inside, or burn it. It's the horrifying thing. We're gonna respond with fire. We start a small fire and burn the thing. The ashes drift. People look at one another, too close to panic. Supplies have dwindled over the months, years. You know we need to restart food production on the surface, or humanity is doomed to starvation long before it has a chance of it. There is no other choice. In the last supply cache, preparing your group to make their way upward, you stumbled across a toroidal support robot, which, according to its packaging, was intended to help with the settlement after planetfall. You switch it on a few hundred years early. Indicator light blinks on. A synthetic voice peeps. Ship data connection established. Oxygen use shows a smaller living population than even the most conservative production models. The robot rotates to robot face you. My crew roster indicates that you are the most experienced and qualified individual to serve as the settlement's caretaker. Congratulations. You are more disheveled than your profile indicates. Please allow me a moment to update it. So when you're playing this game, yeah, you basically have a character. The character doesn't necessarily matter as far as I'm aware, and you can set up your own name. So I'm streaming this as Will Cole. So we'll go ahead and give our character the name, Will Cole. We can give ourselves a nickname, which is just going to be the Twitch, or the YouTube name, so Will Cole 100. There we go. At least as far as the tutorial is concerned. The name and how you look doesn't really matter. So we can see a couple of different things. We've got us. We got the freight elevator. And the stuff down here doesn't really matter. It's just giving us sort of a look around. So we got the two characters that we were just doing a little bit of story. These guys are randomly generated. They're not always guys as well. Sometimes they're girls. We got the toroidal robot I was talking about. Let's go up into the settlement. First steps, the Generation ship's dossier describes these grasslands as an agrarian paradise. This certainly does not match that brief. It will take concerted effort to remediate the issues plaguing this biome, or plaguing the biome. Before anything else, we need to construct basic habitats for everyone. So, we get told we need to build basic habitats, and we need to find... I think it wants to be connected to the center here. Where do I want to put it? Sort of thinking future-proofing. I suppose here might work as well as any place. Okay. And by default, at the beginning here, we're going to be able to build one thing a turn. I think after we get out of the tutorial, buildings are going to have a construction cost. In the tutorial here, that is basically cost in action. Construction, other things take place over turns. Select the turn button to progress. Satisfying basic needs. Human crews have needs. Build a water tank within range of the basic habitat to provide the tile with water. As you can see in here, the basic habitat requires food and water, and it does actually technically output something as well. Basically takes food and water and outputs something in exchange for that. We'll pop that building there. That is a building that at some point is probably going to get placed. I think this is a click on the building. It has a finite output, finite water supply when that goes away. Or when we use up that water, it's used up. Shelter, hydration, and nutrition complete the survival pyramid. A cricket farm will suffice to provide food for the surrounding area. So we're going to start off trying to feed ourselves with a cricket farm. That takes 2 water and provides up to 3 food. I'll put that here. Okay. Operating structures. Now that the basic needs of the crew are satisfied, we can train them into technicians by placing a technician's depot within the habitat's radius. Training structures like the technician's depot will immediately supply workers to operate structures. However, the crew nearby must be cared for to properly staff these structures. If the technician's depot is left understaffed for too long, it will shut down and no longer supply technicians. So right now, we've got, because we're providing food and water to this basic habitat, we are providing the staff that works at a technician's depot. So, technician depot intakes 1 staff, makes 3 technicians. Operational resources. It repurposes my planetfall preparation program to keep track of all operational resources above the ship. For the ship. That's why they're up here. So we've got 3 technicians, and we have space to put 2 more habitation areas down. And we've completed enough of our tasks to fulfill our development goals. Select the button to reach the new development level. Milestones have been proven to help human minds comprehend an overwhelming responsibility. So we've been given a new resource, which is settlement skies, and a new structure, which is organic waste storage. Necessary infrastructure. We need to keep the building infrastructure as we keep building infrastructure to expand our settlement. Your lean supplier crew is already producing organic waste that needs management. An organic waste storage facility will collect and contain those disgusting remnants. So in addition to making people who work at the place, they also make waste, and the waste needs a place to go. Plop that there. I have designated settlement size as the measure of how many habitats can currently function sustainably. As our efforts continue, we will increase our capacity to house crew for further training. I've also categorized the next steps for rebuilding. Viewed this way, it does not appear impossible to achieve at all. So we got to build up to 2 habitat structures. So we've got 1, provide enough food for them, provide enough water for them. So it's pretty easy to do. And right now, all we basically got. I suppose I could build more cricket farms. We don't need more. Don't need more water tanks right now. Don't need more organic waste. So we'll go on to the next step, which is build the habitat. Basic habitats. Which actually completes the first step here. Time to turn outward. This has given us some more building options. So we got signal distributor, extends the construction connection to the biome hub, enabling structure, construction, and operation farther out into the map. Water condenser to generate water using power and technicians. Wind farm to use technicians to make power. And we have a new resource to manage, which is power. Time to turn outward. Years without supervision has caused automatic irrigation to desiccate the biome with excess fertilizer. With plant life strangled by alkalis, these massive scrubbers are stabilizing the ship's atmospheric composition. Their power draw is enormous. We must reclaim some power, either by disassembling some scrubbers or establishing a wind farm. As scrubbers come offline, we'll need to ramp up ecosystem restoration efforts. So we're basically being presented with 2 things to do. Most structures consume resources to function. If the resource supplying structure isn't in range, the structure will not function, and the production chain will be broken. Okay. So, yeah. And in this case, it's giving us sort of 2 goals. Either build a wind farm or deactivate a scrubber. And the reason is because we're currently a power balanced. Power consumed is equal to power produced. So we can get 5 power by deactivating one of these scrubbers, or we can get 5 power by building a wind farm. Because it's commenting about it causing ecological instability, we're going to go with the one with it produces new power instead of reduces our ongoing consumption. I'm going to go ahead and put up a wind farm. We'll put it over here. Expanding reach. Power is restored to address the environmental issues beyond the hub's reach. We should extend our buildable area with a signal distributor. So that's this building. Basically a power boosting center. It helps to move power out and about. Doesn't really matter where I put this, as long as it's within a certain range of our middle area here. And basically it extends the range by that distance, or by distance out from there. I'll go with the location. Plump it there. Two people offer their help. So in the earlier story, we were introduced to 2 characters that I said were randomly generating. That's these 2 characters. They're back again. I've come to you asking for jobs to do. You gratefully accept as you continue to work to meet the needs of the crew and restore the biome. You need all the help you can get. We'll be your initial team for major tasks. So going forward, instead of only having 1 action a turn, each of these people represent an action. Although, depending on what we're doing, we can send them to do the same thing if we wish. Volunteers. Oh, charitable. More human hands mean more can be done at once. Your new stewards, so I assume that's a game turn to refer to these, can divide and conquer tasks across our newly expanded settlement. I recommend immediately addressing the biome's excess fertilizer nitrate issues. A soil bioremediator and algae bioreactor can be built on these toxic areas to start restoration. So we're basically being asked to get a bioremediator and a bioreactor active. So bioremediator is going to take 2 power and 2 technicians. It makes a waste product that needs to be stored. Same thing with the algae bioreactor. And the storage building also takes power and also takes technicians. So I'm not going to rush to immediately build these for a somewhat obvious reason, which is if I build them right away, we're going to run out of technicians. And I kind of want some technicians to be available to acquire more technicians, sort of. Good way to think about this. So we're going to set up a technician depot. So one of our 2 people has been assigned to build the technician depot. And that'll provide us with more technicians. In addition, we have finite water here. The water tank here is a finite source of water, and we're going through 4 water every turn. So this is only going to work for 2 more turns. So we're going to get an alternative source of water, which is the water condensator here. This will provide up to 5 water forever. Plop it on that hill there, and we'll end the turn. So now, I don't think we need to be worried about water anymore. We solved the sort of the renewable source of water problem. This is going to be a finite storage sort of problem as well. This is sort of the opposite problem of the water tank. We got no way to deal with the waste, although I think the tutorial doesn't provide you a way to deal with the waste. We need to move quick enough that the our waste products do not become a problem. Okay, let's start with the soil bioremediator. Plop you there, and we're going to get a sludge granulizer going. Which does want 3 water. Or maybe I'm building a little bit too far away from the water. That would work. How much... Let's cancel building this for a moment. How much water do I have stored in here? 4. Okay, I'm not quite doing this the right way around. Let's build another water collector over here. Water condenser over here. Reclaiming power. Looks like you're running short on power. Those scrubbers are necessary to avoid ecological collapse, but we have more efficient solutions now. We can disable or dismantle them to reclaim power and socket space. So it's recommending that I go ahead and get rid of one of the scrubbers. And at this point, I think I will actually agree with it. I'll go ahead and clear up one of the scrubbers. So I'm going to turn the scrubber off, which saves us 5 power. I'm going to go so far as to actually destroy the one. And then environmental well-being, we're going to get the sludge granulizer set up. Let's say there. That's our 2 actions. Oh, we've got a story event here. Your eyes open. The ship is as quiet as it's ever been. And if you haven't realized by now, we're on a generation ship. That's where the Generation Exile comes from. The myriad little functions of the ship's systems contribute to a low thrumming, which never leaves you. You will live out your life feeling the thrum at every moment. It is constant, natural. But now there is something else. A feeling of expectation, of something waiting for you. Why not go for a walk in the grasp of insomnia, you think? You've become curious, you find yourself arising, donning clothes and shoes. You walk through the biome knowing somehow where you're going. Looking up, you see Earth's view of the stars. On the ceiling, that sky is actually the inner surface of the habitat ring. Right view of the stars on the ceiling. That's the sky. Okay. If it were transparent, you wouldn't see the real color shifting stars sliding past, but the other biomes of the habitat ring arching above you. You've never visited them, they're out of reach. Access tunnels blocked, crushed, missing. Here you find something at the mouth of a man-made cave. You find something inside, a presence, a person you can't tell. You pause only a moment before you enter. Inside, the air is cool and damp. The biome engineers did their jobs well, forming a livable environment out of a functional space. When this biome is in a better shape, there will be bats and cavefish here. You look around in the dimness. Then light, soft, and yellow-white fills the air. Your eyes adjust. Something hangs from the cave ceiling. You can't help yourself. You lift a hand to touch it, and it seems to reach down to you in return. The moment fills your consciousness. What can it mean, this connection? It feels warm, familiar. Then as you wander, the light is gone. The warmth is fading. Your reaching hand slowly returns to your side. You are left in darkness, but you feel yourself carrying a glow within you. So, a little bit of story there. And we're going to go ahead and cycle the turn. Empty water tank. The amount of water in the water tank makes them finite resources. An empty one can really interrupt production chains, so to make sure you find ways to replenish the water supply. You can deconstruct undesired structures to reclaim space and some building material. So you might glance from the concept of building material that at some point in the game you have building materials. The water tank here in the tutorial doesn't cost anything to build, other than the simple action to build it. And in this case, effectively to fill it back up is going to cost us an action to disassemble it and then rebuild it, if we really needed that water. I've swapped over to a renewable water source, so we're not worried about that. At this point, this is going to provide us all the water we need. It has 1 surplus capacity. And this one over here is going to help with that as well. As at some point, we will probably need a little more water. Okay, so the next problem we need to overcome. We're going to note there's empty stores over there. That's not what we're going to worry about. Okay, so we've got 3 food there. So we can build another basic habitat. So we'll go ahead and do that. We have the food for that. The biome bar shows the accumulation of biome traumas. Select it to open the detailed view. So we've got, in the grasslands, we've got a biome trauma, which is the unstable ecosystem. Excessive nitrate fertilizer salts have damaged the ecosystem. 2 more traumas will result in a state of emergency. Biome traumas. Providing for an entire human population is complicated, doubly so in a spaceship rife with misfortune. I have begun tracking significant detriments to biome traumas. If a biome either has 3 of these at any given time, we will devolve into a state of emergency. In a state of emergency, you will have limited time to solve a biome trauma and pull these biomes out of immediate danger of collapse. This should be monitored carefully. So we're not in a major concern here. We've got 1 trauma, and that's because at the beginning of the run, here we had 6 scrubbers. We now have 5. So, at least on this tutorial level, if you left all 6 in, you basically had no immediate concerns associated with trauma. And I wouldn't be surprised if each one of these you destroy is going to add another trauma. So we don't want to destroy too many of those, because then we might be in a state of problem. We're going to build a basic habitat here, which is going to provide us with... it's going to consume another water, which we've got. It's going to consume the remaining food in the cricket farm, which we've got. And if we build a technician's depot, it will provide us with more technicians. Once again, we have more technicians. We're up to 3 technicians. So that should be enough for me to get a algae bioreactor going to clean up this lake and to advance the main quest. Okay. The moment we got the algae bioreactor down, the next step in the quest was to have the place where the products of those get stored, which is the sludge granulizer, and process 40 nitrates, which is let those buildings work for 4 turns. Well, 4 turns across the 2 of them, summatively. So we've had one working for 3, we've had one working for 1. Or it was work for 3 turns. But anyway, we've had them working for 4 turns, so it's more than enough. So we've actually completed this development level. Human resources. So we're going to advance. Venturing forth. The grassland biomes is moving closer towards stability and recovery. So we've got aquaponic farm unlocked, vertical farm unlocked. These are different ways to make food that are maybe a little bit more space efficient. Survey outpost enables surveying and studying of nearby areas. And the surveying expedition, and +1 settlement size. As the soil and water recovers, we can begin to see who else, if anyone, is still out there on the ship. It appears the planned inter-biome transfer system never even began construction. We can use schematics for a survey outpost intended for planetary settlement to search for alternative pathways into either biomes. So this is as part of the Exile ship, or Generation ship, there are multiple biomes, hypothetically, on the ship. And I suppose from a sort of a city building standpoint, each of those is a mission or a map. Improved production chains. I strongly recommend improving our current production chains as well. While nutritionally adequate insect-based demi-gruel is neither desirable for crew, nor does it provide the highest yield of food production available to us. And you can kind of see that already. The vertical farm, this is both the land tile as the existing one is. Right? This was 2 water, makes up to 3 food. The vertical farm is 2 technicians, so you have to actually provide technicians to work this. But it's more efficient for water to food production. Not necessarily important for the tutorial here. And in fact, the quest is one of the quests here is basically saying either make the vertical farm or make the aquaponic farm. I think I'm going to go with the aquaponic farm because positioning everything will work out a little bit better that way. So I've got 1 technician, which I really probably want on the aquaponic farm. Although I need to clean up a little bit more of the lake to make that work. And the survey outpost is going to take a technician. Yeah, okay. Get a little bit ahead of ourselves. I'm going to set up this organic waste storage here. I think the first one isn't quite full yet, yeah. But get a little ahead of ourselves so we have space when we need it. And you just need a little bit of power. So let's get a little more coverage range with this connection here. It's because we're waiting for one of the lake tiles to be cleared up. Okay, maybe not the way I wanted it to work, but I think that might give us the range we need. Aquaponic farm, just out of the signal range. Okay, I gotta wait another turn. I can probably build up without it working. So let's go ahead and do the basic habitat in the Technician's Depot. And then I'll need the aqua farm to actually get that chain working properly. There we go. Oh, and this, while it turns crew into technicians, this will provide a few technicians before the crew is ready to work it. So we got 3 technicians. Because we're providing the food, that will be sustainable at this point. So let's put the survey outpost up so we can start doing our surveys for our quest. We got to survey twice. Surveying. The hills are the only terrain in the area that could conceal passages to other biomes. We can dispatch the keen-eyed and the sure-footed technicians from the survey outpost to conduct the search. So it's telling me to go conduct the search, so we click an action, and we basically pick a hill. the one closest to the town for the start. Tasks performing used structures require task checks. The category of the task determines the conditions of the check. Here are potential outcomes of the task check. Depending on the task outcome, the event trackers will move one step towards either crisis or fortune event. The task contains skill challenges defined by the category. Each skill challenge adds a crisis counter to the pool. Your leadership always provides at least one chance for a favorable outcome. Stewards assigned this task could also add effects to increase the chance of a fortune event. Stewards have abilities that make them more suited to some tasks than others. As they earn experience, they will also have the opportunity to gain additional abilities. Choose your team wisely. So we've got our 2 stewards that we can assign to this task. This task requires either influence, seek, or tend. And we can sort of line up here. So both of these guys have influence abilities, and they have no skill with seek or tend. So it doesn't really matter which one of these 2 we assign. We'll assign this person. So you can see checked off influence, so it removed 1 crisis counter from the fortune to crisis ratio. So we'll confirm that action, and we just have 1 action to continue to build up the town. So all your water is being used. You still technically have 1 water. I'm going to go ahead another water collector setup, so we can continue expanding the town, although I don't necessarily need to. The event requires our attention. You get a call from the people who are working on the preliminary ship status assignment. They tell you that accessing many parts of the ship is proving to be very difficult. You found a path that might lead to another biome, we think. Or we found a path that might lead to another biome, we think. Without the schematics, it's a lot of guesswork. But Tafiki sounds agitated. There's so much overgrowth Quinn puts in. It's just everywhere. Vines, shrubs, plant matter we can't identify. We can't get a rover through, and we aren't doing much better on foot. You hear a strangled shriek somewhere in the background. Tafiki, are you in that tangle there? Quinn's voice breaks. How do you direct your cue? So we can tell them to cut them out immediately. We can carefully part the vines and pull them out slowly. We're going to do the second one. Again, this is a tutorial. I don't know if the choice here really matters. Quinn is able to subtract Tafiki bit by bit, but it takes hours. Exhausted, the 2 of them withdraw with your approval. I'll have to find a different way to gain access to more of the ship. Crisis and fortune events, never a dull moment, it seems. Performing complex tasks introduce any number of challenges and situations. Surely these little misadventures will turn to your favor as the team's experience and skills overcome. Team's experience and skills evolve. Okay. So that was the event that required our attention. We've cleared that. So as we have farther fortune event counters or crisis event counters, we get events. That's basically what's going on. Okay, so exploration needs to continue. We pick someone and assign them to a different help. We'll send the person who has experience. They'll continue to level up as we send them out. And in the meantime, we have food and we have water, so we can go ahead and build up another basic habitat over here. Like so. And we got a fortune event, so we got the good result on that exploration. Next turn, we'll have the process extra nitrates. I've played enough through the tutorial. Well, at this point, previously I played through the entire tutorial earlier today to figure out roughly how long it would be. So I have a rough idea how the tutorial goes. So we're going to keep processing extracting nitrates and surveying. That's how we basically advance the tutorial here. So we're going to confirm that action. And then we're going to continue to build up our technician pool. So the next one is the technician depot over here for more people. Okay, so there's development level 3 on this quest. So we development level increase. With soil and water returning to balance, now the rest of the ecosystem will follow. So we've gained various unlocks, such as the water tank reclamation. So deploys a small number of temporary portable moisture collectors to refill this water tank capacity. So if we really wanted to push more water back into our water tanks, we could do that. At least for the tutorial, we don't need to do that. Faster log processing. So improve the processing capability of timber, adding additional +2 input. Not applicable to the tutorial, but sort of giving you an idea of what you may be doing in other maps. Processing lumber into building materials, presumably. We've got the plaza. Allows stewards to facilitate camaraderie between nearby crew. Supply run. Dispatch stewards to lead a search for supplies within the access tunnels. So socialize the crew. Development points, and we've also gained 1 more settlement size and +2 development points. We're well on our way to remediation. In pursuit of sustainable production, upgrade actions are now available on certain structures. As our settlement develops, we gain more resources to perform upgrade actions. Now, spend your development points wisely. So it's sort of pushing us to do a development improvement somewhere. And arguably has picked a reasonably good building for it, which is, yes, the organic waste storage is at some point going to run out of storage capacity. So let's improve its storage capacity by 50. To kick that can down the road. This is plan logistics, seek logistics, or study logistics. So in our case, both of our people are decently good at study. In fact, this person's actually the best at it, so we're going to assign them to do that task. In the meantime, we also got to build a plaza, which can only be built on the hub sockets around our sort of central hub, which was why I sort of accepted eventually destroying one of the scrubbers, even though that did give us a biome trauma. And right now we do have a second biome trauma, which is... wait, waste not? Oh, waste not storage is one of them. Okay. I forgot that we needed waste storage over there. Okay. Let's deal with that first. That's pretty easy to deal with. Plop there. That was not the problem I was expecting. Okay, now that the survival and basic needs... 10 turns till game over. So, apparently I'm doing things weirder than I did the first time, because I didn't get this. We actually got 3 traumas going. So one of their traumas is suffering from isolation. So that's what we needed the plaza for. 10 turns on game over. Remove 1 or more traumas to stop the countdown. Fair enough. Now that basic survival needs are accounted for, we must restore the much-needed sense of normalcy and mutual respect amongst the crew. Camaraderie can be nurtured at a newly established plaza. We need to build it in a central location around the hub. You can dismantle a scrubber to reclaim the hub socket for space. Dismantle a scrubber to reclaim the hub socket, and that's what we'll get set up now with the plaza. And in theory, if I end the turn here, the waste will get cleared up by this, so everything should be fine. There we go. So we went from 3 to 2. It was giving us a warning. By my calculations, the well-being of the ship is dangerously poor. We must remove the biome trauma before we reach catastrophic failure. We just did. The waste was the third. And we fixed that. In fact, we'll bring it even farther down. The second one here is suffering from isolation. We will task someone with inspiring camaraderie. There we go. One step forward. The first survey expeditions aided our wayfarers' progress, but other biomes are still inaccessible. We need to keep scouring the hills. You have all the necessary tools to restore the biome to a stable state, redouble your environmental efforts, and stay abreast of your population's well-being needs. Remember, humanity is counting on you. So here we are. We got 2 quests here. We got to survey 5 hills and remove 45 excess nitrates. So with the survey here, we're going to task it to survey the next one. And that person's actually going to get up to 5 XP when that's done, so we'll get a sort of introduction to the leveling up process. And then process excess nitrates. So you're still working over there? Yeah. Do you still have stuff within range over there? Although we're maybe getting close to the point where we want to move you. I got 3 technicians. For another cleaner, I need 2, and for the granulizer, I need a 3rd. Okay. I don't have enough water if we were to use that as our water source. Do there. Although I don't necessarily have enough range. Okay, that should work. Let's put you there. Nope, we got a fortune result. Steward has gained enough experience to level up. Steward's gained enough experience to level up, yeah. So we're getting sort of... Whenever they level up, you get a choice between 3 new abilities. New ability, Mountaineer. +1, chance for a good thing on hill tiles. 3's Company. Chance for a good event, additional chance for a good event when tasked with 2 other people. Or Persuasive adds creative and seek skill. We're going to actually go Persuasive here. And again, we're going to keep exploring with them. 1 hill at a time. Here we go. Confirm the action. And with increased range there. Yeah, put the sludge granulator, or the sludge granulator there, and we'll have enough water coming from there to work that. Maybe it's a bit preemptive to build the building. In fact, actually, can I cancel that construction? Yeah. So that's the range. So I'm going to put the soil remediator there. And then we're going to put the granulator in second. You still have places to pull from? Possibly. You might actually be done in your current range. I might need to move you. I want to continue making progress on the nitrate remediation. So in theory, we had a fortune event counter. Although no fortune event happened. It might be part of the tutorial where you don't get very many of those. So we can move this. Move it to a slightly more useful location for cleaning stuff up. We're going to flop it over here. We want to keep it within 3 of the sludge granulator. So we move it to storage. Although it's getting a little full. Our other person we're going to go send to do camaraderie. Keep our traumas to a minimum. Okay, so we're going to put the sludge gunner laser over there. And I think we keep exploring for the moment. This is approaching full. But then the answer to that is just build another one. Although that might probably involve I have to do some other stuff to make more space. We'll sort that out as time goes around. Continue exploring. And there we go. That's going to help you clean up. And then you've only got 1 more place to clean up before you need to move anyway. I think that can store up to 2 more. I think you only have... Well, that's what I just cleaned up. I think it's got 3 more to clean up. So, might need to build another storage facility, and it might not be the most useful storage facility, because it's not going to have anything near it. Okay, so let's continue exploring the hills as it kind of implies we should be. And in the meantime, what do I need? I need more workers. Or I need more technicians. You're providing food. You provide up to 5 food, and we're only providing it to 2. So let's grab a basic habitat there, because you'll have food. You'll have water, so that'll be fine. To do much more than I will need more water, though. But we can get that technician up first to work with our extractor. Okay, so this is complaining that its storage is full. I'm not sure if its storage is actually full or if it has some, might have some consumption rate to it as well. Or maybe it's a warning that its storage is going to be full, which is very true. Continue exploring. We only need to harvest 45 nitrates here to finish this objective. Then you're in range where I think you can still make everyone happy. Let's go ahead and do that. And we have a event that's not enough entertainment. Some say it's the monotony of routine, others whisper about purpose and the weight of survival. Whether it's existential or just a symptom of close quarter life, the fact remains people need more than work and sleep. They are growing bored, looking for distractions from their everyday lives. Whatever the cause, the result is clear. Demand for entertainment has surged across the colony. People's behaviors may become unpredictable. Oh dear. Yeah, so it seems like this is not... It's complaining about being full, but it's technically not full. So let's get our technician depot so we get more technicians, because we need more technicians. And then we continue surveying. Although we're reaching the point where the surveyor is going to be done surveying soon. Oh, I see. So this is just not extracting anymore is what's going on. Okay, I think it's time to move you. We're going to move you across the way. We have the lake over there. And I think we'll do the last survey from the survey location. Yep, complaining about being full. Which, because this is full, I might not be allowed to move this. Oh, no, it's going to let me move it even though that's full. Okay, that works out. There might be some soft security missions or security settings on the demos tutorial here, not to brick the tutorial. And I guess this one's just taking all the waste storage, which isn't necessarily the best idea, because at some point that's going to become an issue. Although I can move over that one next, so I think we're fine with waste. Okay. And yeah, you're out of places to survey, so it's time to move you. Plop you over there. I think that definitely worked. Or just pops out of existence. That might be a glitch. Just a minor glitch. It doesn't matter here on the tutorial because the building's free. That might be a bit more annoying if it wasn't a free building. Okay, so we got you moved. I suppose I can make a little bit of power. We don't necessarily need it right now, but we'll build it. Oh, and you're not in range to provide camaraderie to that building. So I will need to provide camaraderie to that building, which actually means I need to remove one of these scrubbers. Or... oh no, I did at some point, so it's just going to let me complete the quest. Okay. Signs of renewal. After tireless effort and careful coordination, the results are undeniable. The biome is showing real signs of recovery for the first time in a long time. The possibility of a thriving future feels within reach. But before you and the crew find time to celebrate, a message comes through from your team. They insist that you come right away. They've sent you a complex path to follow through the ship's passages and tunnels. No one has been through them since the ship was built. So in a way, I think that's basically the end of like the tutorial level. We're gonna get a little bit of story here, and it's gonna sort of introduce us to some of the mechanics that would be found in the second level. And that's actually where the tutorial is gonna end. So I'm gonna go through the story here, and I'll talk about what I see initially in sort of mechanics for the second level that isn't in the tutorial level. They've finally found a way through. Your team members are there already, as close as anyone alive has ever been to an inaccessible biome. You hurry through an unfamiliar auxiliary access tunnel, recently cleared. There are so many of these, and so many of their schematics are gone. Tafiki's voice crackles over the comms channel. Almost here. The signal isn't good, but Quinn chimes in. Come on, we're almost got the door open. You shush Buddy every time it repeats, local coordinate data not found. Location triangulation system inoperative. You feel open space ahead of you, echoing with a small noise of anticipation. The room is enormous, with many people are gathered around what looks like a blank wall. Tafik, Kraus, got it. Everyone holds their breath. The wall opens. The Tagia. It's beautiful. People are already stepping through, laughing, stomping through the snow. A new biome after months and months of grassland zone. Their cold feels bracing and novel, sparkling, glowing. You watch people begin a snowball fight. Behind you. A retching metal groan. The tunnel. No, there's no way back. We worked so hard to get here. And now we're stuck. You and your team discusses while an emergency tent is deployed how to proceed. You try to consult via patchy comms with those back in the grasslands, but you can barely get a word across. Best to accept it. You're trapped here for now, even after the others back in grassland figure out what's gone wrong. The tunnel collapse can't be cleared until the structural supports can be reinforced. Anything else runs the risk of a hull breach, if only so many schematics hadn't been lost. You have no other choice, you begin to set up more tents. So, on the next mission here, you get access to another steward, presumably. And in this case, as I said, the first two are randomly generated, so your future ones get randomly generated. But unlike the first two, which I think are tied to having some minimum requirements to them for being the first quest here, these are, I think, fully generated, randomly generated, and it lets you pick one of three. Because this is the demo, it doesn't really matter which of the three I pick. Cold and alone. Morning breaks. Folks are tired and cold. We might be stuck here for a while. While you're pondering the various ways this might mean your inevitable demise, Buddy chips in with a small observation. The trees here seem to be decomposing at an alarmingly accelerated rate. We should investigate. We can investigate that later, you donut, Tafiki says. Yeah, right now we should focus on not freezing our butts off, Quinn adds. They're understandably agitated. As if on cue, Buddy interjects that the hub will have an emergency supply cache that we can use to bootstrap ourselves. Perhaps we'll get through this. You can see up here, shivering timbers. We may be trapped indefinitely in this undeveloped Tagia, but circumstances are not as dire as they seem. We have downloaded schematics from the hub for subalpine boreal production chain, using sturdier materials than our previous bootstrap efforts. So, sturdier materials. And you might guess from some of the new unlocks here, we got the logging skyarm, harvesting sustainable volumes of timber from nearby forests. So we're getting timber. So we get a building material, is I think what the building requirements are. So it has a building requirement, and it produces our inputs trees, outputs logs. And then we have the mass timber facility here, which again has a building requirement. I believe it takes building materials, but this is the building that makes building materials. So it takes those logs from the logging skyarm, which only makes one, and converts it to building materials. So up to 3 logs to up to 3 building materials. So this has to be built in plains, this has to be built on a forest top. And we've got some starting resources here. I'm going to hit continue here, and you're going to realize why the resources here don't actually matter for us. And that this is the end of the demo. We've reached the end of Generation Exile Demo. But the game continues with additional emergent stories, new gameplay features, and more challenges to overcome as we attempt to restore society aboard the ship. First in another biome, and then in multiple biomes simultaneously. If you've enjoyed the experience of watching me, or if enjoyed the concept of this experience, feel free to let me know. Obviously, you can purchase the game if you've enjoyed the tutorial and want to pick up the game to play for yourself. If you want to watch me play more of it, feel free to let me know, whether it's in Twitch chat or later in the YouTube chat. Obviously, for today, this is where we're going to bring it to close. We finished up Endless Legends earlier today, so this was just a sort of short run here, because I basically downloaded this demo trying to determine if I wanted to play the game, and decided to make a nice short video. Anyway, as I say, no matter what, thanks very much, in the case if you're watching this, for watching, and it's sort of thanks to me for playing, I suppose. And yeah, this is probably where we're going to bring this stream and this recording to a close. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to see more of this, feel free to leave a comment. If you're watching later on, or if you're watching currently on Twitch and you want to see more of this, feel free to leave a comment. I won't pick this up right away. Got a couple other things in the backlog to work through. But if there's interest in seeing more of this, I would be interested in potentially picking it up to play more of it. And at this point, I'll just do a reminder. This is obviously the first episode in this run on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm streaming this live to Twitch under the username WillCall, and I'm recording it locally for upload to YouTube under the username WillCall100. This episode should be available on YouTube before it comes down off of Twitch. It'll be up on Twitch for 14 days after it was streamed live, and it should be released on YouTube before that's done. I'm currently recording a little bit ahead to prepare for being away for probably 2 different weeks in the upcoming month. I'll be away for a wedding, and I'll be away to help help moving someone out of the old family house. Which, to be fair, when I go away to help with that, should be mostly done. And it's just the last few major objects to move. I'll go over the upcoming Twitch schedule before we bring the stream to a close. If you're watching, today was Endless Legends earlier in the stream. If you're watching on YouTube, the past 3 days should have been Endless Legends. Tomorrow on YouTube will be, tomorrow on YouTube should be the continuation of all the other runs we're doing, and the first part of the next Humanity First run, as that's what we're going to be recording in 3 days. The plan was Endless Legends today. We finished it early, so we recorded effectively an episode of this to sort of pad out the stream. Tomorrow we're going to be playing Shadow Empire. We have about 5 victory points to go, so we may finish that up early as well. If we do, I'll probably go ahead and load up a different demo of... now I'm forgetting the game. Of Solar Expanse. I'll play a little bit of the Solar Expanse demo if we finish up Shadow Empires early tomorrow. And then on Wednesday we're going to be doing Songs 6, and then Thursday, as I've brought up a couple times, we're going to be doing Humankind. So with that, I'm going to wish everyone the best of luck and a good time until the next part and or stream. And just a reminder, if you're watching live on Twitch and you want to leave a comment, now's probably a good time to leave them. I'll try to respond to them all after I bring the YouTube video to a close. And if you're watching later on YouTube or the Twitch VOD, feel free to hop over to the YouTube channel and leave comments over there. YouTube is pretty good for the asynchronous commenting. With that, one last, wish you the best of luck and a good time, and bye for now.